All righty. We are set for our first live edition of WTL Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting. We're going big time here with the big race, the Talladega 500, the Geico 500. We got on here Jay Parkett, Robert Knapp, and of course, the Parlay Conference.
Right, we're up in here. Nebraska Brewing Company, shout out.
Why did I search it?
Thank you. Coach Rules, Coach Rules.
Hey, we're not even 2 minutes in right now.
Yeah, exactly. We are.
All right, Robert, how are you doing this morning?
Great, thank you very much.
I heard you're really NASCAR, so we had to have you on broadcast.
Well, I'm getting smaller, but he loves NASCAR.
Well, first off, I thought we'd talk about our clock sheet, something new that we're doing here.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes down to the brewery, by the way, we're live at the Vistas Nebraska Brewing Company. We're back in the tap room here, so swing on by. We also got Swedish barbecue out there.
Yeah. Delicious.
Yes. So they're either going to draw a lot of people just by them being outside there next to the patio. But let's go over, and we're going to hear from everybody here.
Yeah.
Let's go over some of our prop sheet here. Ron, what was your kind of thought process behind it?
Well, a lot of it is Robert. He kind of gave me the ideas for pretty much everything, and I just kind of, copy and pasted his brain on this sheet. So, yeah, did so much of stuff, some pre-race stuff. Will Michael Jordan be at the race? He sponsors Bubba Wallace, and will Pitbull be at the race? You've seen him before at NASCAR.
Number one car.
Yep, number one car.
Yeah, he sponsors Trackhouse, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Suarez and Chastain.
Exactly.
99.
There we go.
Exactly. Will Austin Dillon be wearing his cowboy hat pre-race? That's a pretty easy one to say. He's known for it.
It makes him taller.
Makes him taller.
Is that what's going on there?
But yeah, and when you get into during the race, Nebraska Brewing Company's been generous enough that 3 of our prop questions here for stage 1, stage 2, and race winner. They're putting up a 6-pack of beer. If anybody can call those,
there we go.
For 1, 2, the first stage winner, the second stage winner, and the altogether winner. So shout out to Nebraska Brewing Company for that as well.
One of the many perks for having a brewing company as your main sponsor of your live and host of the live event.
Yep.
Jake, are there any props on here that kind of jump out at you, like the big one when the big wreck's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Xfinity race yesterday, and there were about 4 different variations of the big one. I mean, Blaine Perkins had to go to hospital because he flipped over on a wreck on a backstretch, and then Daniel Hemrick flipped over with 2 or 3 laps to go. I mean, I think there were 3 or 4 attempts at a green-white checkered yesterday. So that's one that I was looking at on here is, will there be a green-white checkered to end the race? And that a lot of times at Talladega, I think the average last caution is lap 4, which depending on the severity of the wreck, usually that does lead to a green-white checkered, especially if they go to red flag. So that's one of them that I said. I think it will end under a green-white checkered. The other one is the manufacturers. I'm huge on Ford at Talladega. I think 6 out of the last 12 races have been won by a blue oval. My pick to win, who we'll get to in a little bit, is a Ford. I like Ford to go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You guys, Andy talked to me earlier this week about Brad Keselowski, 6-time winner. If he wins today, he ties Dale Earnhardt Jr. for second at Talladega.
Yeah.
So he's a Ford, and him and Chris Buescher at Daytona were really, really solid. Just got caught up in a wreck at the end. So I'd be watching all the Fords today. So the manufacturer bets as well as the green-white checker are kind of what I saw.
All right. Well, what do you think of that, Robert? Or do you have a prop?
Talladega is a wreckers or checkers race, just like Daytona.
Well, last year, I mean, there was a little bit of a scrum at the end there, but they still were able to let the checkered flag go. And I think that's what most fans want to see, right?
Yeah.
They want to see the race.
Well, people got confused by that at Daytona because the last lap in the 500, they wrecked right behind Stenhouse and Logano, and people were really confused how that race actually ended.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so if you've ever watched Talladega Nights,
Battle of Ricky Bobby.
It's been a couple years ago, but Carl Edwards in the 99 ended up in a huge wreck in the fence. His car couldn't have been any more demolished, and he ran across the finish line.
And you know who caused that wreck?
I think it was your pick.
It was not my pick, but it was Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski.
Okay.
No, I liked what you said about the manufacturers there, Jake, because leading up this week, Chevy was the favorite all week, but Ford has
got the better odds today just because a lot of people are putting money in on that. Now it's all the way down to a plus 115 bet for the Ford to take home the Talladega.
And qualifying kind of changed that. And that's
exactly.
That's something that makes it really hard to bet this race. I mean, obviously Talladega is one of the hardest to pick in general,
For
but
sure.
Right.
this was an impound race. I mean, these guys had no practice. It was get there, go through inspection, qualify, race. Like these guys aren't going to have the ability to kind of know what it's like to work the draft. And it's just the third race there with next gen cars. So that's something else too, is with no practice, that's going to change things a bit.
Well, and I know it's a little negated here, but a lot of times we want to talk about the poll and where guys ended up. Your best Ford was at the 13th spot, I think, here with Joey Logano. You got Chevy and Toyota all in front, and you got a lot of Toyotas at the tippy top there with Christopher Bell and MTJ. And a lot of people are hating on MTJ. And it's like, the guy does well. I guess I don't fully understand all the shade, but that doesn't scare you guys at all. And is it because it's Talladega and so many things can happen and maybe starting position doesn't matter as much as like on a short track?
Right. It all comes down to the final lap. Or the final laps. Who's blocking? Tony Stewart a couple of years ago crabbed continuously blocking that was being done. And he ends up pulling out to do a block and causes a big one. And there were cars. In fact, he ended up on top of another car. But no, it all comes down to that final end. A couple of years ago, the 34, and his name escapes him right away, loves 34.
McDowell?
Yes, McDowell wins the Daytona 500 at the end. And this year it was 47 Ricky Stenhouse right at the end of the race. And kind of a funny side note, somebody was interviewing Kyle Busch after the race was over, and he said, "Who won?" And the answer was Ricky Stenhouse, and he says, "Well, there you go."
There you go. Yeah. A little shade at Ricky there.
Oh, Recky.
Well, and I mean, legitimately, he caused, I think, or was involved in a wreck for like every restrictor plate race since he won one of them the year before. So
you don't just earn that name from nowhere, right?
No.
You gotta kind of earn that there. I was kind of surprised that the odds really didn't move much, and maybe that's a testament to the odds makers, the cappers that got out in front and got these lines out earlier in the week for us. And then after we ran the poll and, a little bit of shuffling there, but really when I'm looking at these numbers, I mean, the most that moved was like 400, spots there. Daniel Suarez from plus 3,000 to plus 2,800. I mean, there wasn't much movement.
Not a lot. And what you said about, I think Larson and Chastain were, the favorites earlier in the week when we did our usual show or whatever. And they didn't move. I think they were at plus 1,800. Now they're plus 1,600. So not a lot of line movement. And just like Jake was saying, it's just because it's such a hard race to bet that the lines aren't going to move that much.
Yeah. Blaney and Logano both they open up at 1,100 plus 1,100 now. And then after they did well on the poll, they just went to plus 1,000.
Exactly.
And I mean, Robert, do you make anything of that, or is it just, man, this is Talladega?
It's a situation with who gets taken out in the big one. Where are you? What's your position when the wrecks happen? Because if you're back in the pack, you can get caught up in something really easily. Which, if you look at the number one prop bet during the race, will the pole setter still be leading after lap 3? I don't have my glass.
After lap 3.
So all kinds of stuff can happen. You get shuffled into the middle, and the next thing you know, you lose the draft, and you're sucked all the way back to who knows where. So.
Yeah, you could be in third, and you just get out of line, or somebody just ditches you, and you're probably dropping outside the top 20. I mean, absolutely outside the top 10.
Yeah. And there's a lot of racers that kind of placate to that. What comes to my mind is Kevin Harvick and how he's not afraid to go ahead and drop down, especially in the earlier laps. Yeah. Right. And then he'll let the big one happen in front of him. On his podcast is just amazing listening to him talk through his decisions that he's making in real time. And he can take you right back to lap.
That's why they call him the closer.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Harvick is he's always said when his strategy, he starts 11th today. So his strategy with restrictor plate racing is try to get up towards the front early, because if they crash, you can say, all right, well, we were there. We were up towards the front. We had the speed. He's not, and there's a lot of guys. Denny Hamlin is the same way. I mean, he's always been one that says, if we're going to crash, we're going to wreck up front while we're having success. I think a lot of guys, the worst feeling that they have is they're running 25th and they get caught up in a wreck with a bunch of guys who probably didn't have the speed to actually win.
Yeah. Well, and I was watching some of the highlights on YouTube and stuff from last year's race, and they were kind of tearing apart those guys. Like, oh my God, he's getting cut outside. He's drafting down. And then you hear him later on talk about it. It's like, no, I meant to do that. I just felt like it was getting a little too hairy up front. People are getting a little twitchy, and I just wanted to steer clear of it. And when you know it, I think it served him pretty well, especially in a race like this.
Yeah. And that's all part of what we were saying, though. It goes back to having the ability and having the guts to want to drop down and go towards the front. But you know, the risk in doing that, though, is, and this is just the nature of pack racing, is you can clip somebody when you drop down. I mean, all it takes, if you're in the top lane and you want to go down to the bottom, because, you know, like, let's take example, Kevin Harvick, let's say Chase Briscoe's on the bottom, and in the middle, you got the Toyotas. If he wants to drop down across those Toyotas, if they get a run when he's trying to go down to the bottom to meet up with Briscoe or Almirola or whoever's down there, he runs the risk of getting clipped, and then it's his fault if he shuts them out.
Right. So, I mean, like everything, there's a risk reward, and it's kind of magnified here at Talladega. Right?
Yeah, exactly, Andy. One of the lines that I kind of wanted to get these, two guys talking about right now is it's kind of a prop one, but it's the number of the winning car above 17 or below 16.
Is that on here?
Yeah, and it's not on the prop sheet, but I'm just looking at my book right now, and it looks like a pretty fun one for me to, throw a little bit of money on. I think I'm leaning higher than 17.
The car number.
Car number. What do you guys think? Is there better drivers below 16 or above 17?
Well, here, go ahead, Andy.
The 18 car is above 17, so you know where I'm at.
Yep, 18 car.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Kyle Busch fan. He's driving them number 8 now.
Yeah.
So
you're going
I
low.
got to lean towards that.
Okay.
You got the Watermelon Man in number 1.
Yep.
Harvick
4.
4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Austin Dillon.
Kezretzky.
He's
Driving
today.
number 6?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be anywhere across the board. 24's been hot lately.
Yeah.
He's had a couple wins already this year, so anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. 48 is a good.
Good plate racer.
And honestly, after the 34 won the Daytona 500 last year, he has impressed. Had a lot of top 10 finishes, top 5 finishes, and you never know where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'd hammer lower than that because I'll say it right now. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but my pick to win is Eric Almirola.
Okay.
Starts second. I think he's got the Ford speed. I mean, last week, the Stewart Haas cars were just tremendous at Martinsville. I think it was the most laps they've ever led as a team. And that goes back to like the early 2000s.
Wow.
They went 1, 2, 3, 4 in qualifying. And it's different because it's a completely different racetrack. We're talking Martinsville. We're talking Talladega, one of the smallest to one of the biggest.
Right.
But I think they've got the ability to feed off some of that momentum.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then the other two guys the other two guys that are my picks are Harvick and then Ryan Blaney.
There you go. So
I can't not pick
these
my
guys
guy.
are all going low. Okay, you might have changed my mind a little bit there, guys, but I'm still leaning Logano, so I have to go above that 17. So,
but pretty much a whole
Hey man,
show
I filled out my prop bets based off who I think is going to win.
There you go. Heck yeah. No, I like that. So I was glad to get some insight there, Andy.
Well, let's
the big thing.
Go ahead,
thing
Robert.
for Joey Logano is he's got that new hairdo.
Yeah.
Now we're talking
Hair
technical
club for
stuff.
men,
Yes.
Hair club for men.
Yeah.
And he's
More aerodynamic.
Absolutely.
There you go.
But when you got Stewart Haas and Penske all driving Fords working together, that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah. And that's what gives Toyota a disadvantage. They just don't have as many cars. I mean, they've got Bubba Wallace, they've got Tyler Reddick, and they've got the 4 Gibbs cars. So
there's nothing to sneeze at, though.
No, it's not. But you just, you have less dancing partners at the party. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and I like to maximize my partners. So,
no kidding.
With that, let's bring in some representatives from Squealer's Barbecue, and then Connor, the con man with the brewery here. Go ahead. And, we'll just switch out real quick, and then you guys will get back on here.
You want him hop off?
Yeah. We'll get those two guys on, and then they can grab a drink.
Then you can grab a drink.
Get your Bloody Mary on. Get your red beer. For those that don't know, red beer, that's a Nebraska tradition.
Yeah.
Unlike any other.
Go big red beer.
Yes. So, all right, we got Connor with the Nebraska Brewing Company. Connor, thanks for hopping on the broadcast.
Absolutely.
And Luke with you're kind of reintroducing squealers, right?
Yep. Yeah. Thanks
Now-
for having me.
You betcha. You betcha. So what do we got out there? Because it smells phenomenal.
So we got some pulled pork that's smoked over pecan wood for about 14 hours.
Okay.
It's about done. I thought I was going to be able to bring some in here, but I'm going to have to bring it to you guys in a couple minutes.
Okay.
So
All right.
we make all the rubs, sauces, all that stuff.
Wow.
So, and then today for this race, I think it's especially a redneck kind of
Oh
dish.
yeah.
It's a we call it a hot mess, where we take a hot dog and smoke it,
Okay.
cover that with pulled pork, cover that with coleslaw, cover that with barbecue sauce.
Wow.
It is a mess. and
Sounds
it's
like
hot.
heaven.
Yeah.
It's hot.
I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna say cover it one more.
We'll bring a
time.
couple-
Yeah, one more time.
Yeah, everybody.
No, that sounds
got
awesome.
breathe.
Love
Yeah,
that.
so we'll be in here in a couple minutes. I'll bring you guys some.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
excellent. So, Connor, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What's a good pairing beer with that? You heard the rundown there.
Yeah. So my thing is, there's no bad beers out there. Anybody who knows me, and I know the guys out front are actually watching the live stream right now. I'm sure they're laughing that they know I'm going to say our Pilsner. It's
Pils.
I love the Pilsner.
Yep.
It is my personal favorite beer we make. But really, there's no wrong choice.
Yeah,
Like-
it's on you. You're right.
Exactly.
It's your palate.
It's
your
your
palate.
palate.
Exactly.
We're
All right.
drinking the apricot out of the bottle.
Oh, the Saison.
Ben from Farm
Yeah.
Focus had never had that before, so I was like, you gotta try this.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and
So
we
we're
got
getting fancy.
and we got Farm Focused on board too on
Uh-huh,
hand.
yeah.
So Ben's holding down the fort.
Oh yeah, he is. Well, we'll see. I hope
I
he's not.
was gonna
burning
say,
anybody's
yeah.
down
Oh,
right
there he
now.
drove off.
You got
Yeah.
a really nice smoker out there. Trust me, will Ben with that? Oh boy, look out.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome that we got him on board. And Farm Focus is going to have some of the prizes that we're giving out for the prop sheet. So be sure to fill out your prop sheet there. Connor, have you gotten yours filled out yet?
I have not filled mine out yet. I know.
Okay.
I think there's like 5 more entries out there. I just took them some sheets,
Oh,
so
Yeah,
excellent.
there you go.
Excellent.
we'll get those in here pretty quick.
Very good, very good. So do you have a feeling? Do you got a favorite here that you're kind of looking at?
I am very biased. It doesn't
Okay.
matter what race, what track, what weather. I am always a Denny Hamlin guy through and through.
Okay.
Denny's odds don't look that bad today. I know this is a
No.
track that he does
Sitting
fairly
on
well
top.
on.
He's sitting
Yeah.
on top
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah. So I am rolling with Denny Hamlin. That is
You're not
that's-
going to catch much flack.
No, you're
not
no.
gonna
The
catch
guy
much
that's
flack
at
on
plus
that.
1100. Luke?
I'm not going to disagree with the guy selling the beer. So
Oh,
okay.
There we go. And then we got
smart man.
We got the CEO walking in, dropping off some of the prop sheets. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting
I'm
filled
sure
out
he
there.
heard me talking about him. I know he's watching, so I'm sure he heard me and brought him in for us.
We don't have a cutoff there or anything.
Yeah.
Was there a prop that you kind of liked at all there?
Let's see. There was one that really caught my eye. Gosh, which manufacturer will win stage 2? It's obviously going to be Chevy.
Oh.
That one's just not even a.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Here.
Oh yeah.
We got the barbecue guy saying maybe not so fast.
What are you thinking?
I'm feeling Ford.
This guy's a Ford guy.
Yeah, I could
over
tell,
here.
yeah.
Yep.
That's what pulled the smoker here.
Yeah.
It's funny. Prop 19. Which manufacturer will cause the first wreck? Mine was Ford.
Oh, you're kind
So
of
you
a
guys are
Ford guy.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
we caused the most wrecks, and we're going to win the
Yeah, it's
race
a race,
as well.
right? You're not supposed to, you don't
Yeah.
win by
Rubbin's
by not
racing,
rubbing.
Rubbin's
Yeah, you gotta
racing.
rub it
I
up.
like it. I like it. And I'm kind of torn here because Ford brought the smoker here, so maybe I need to shift gears and get on over to the Ford team. I don't know.
Maybe. Wait, are you going to serve him food if he doesn't?
I'll bring it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't have to do that then.
We'll serve anybody.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Very good. Well, Jabron's been on a Ford prop that we talked about earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Has that moved around a lot when you're talking those manufacturer props?
No, it did. Just like Jake was saying in our prior segment just now, Chevy was the favorite at a
Mhm.
plus 135 earlier in the week. That line hasn't moved, but Ford was sitting there at a plus 150, plus 165. They're all the way down to a plus 115 bet
Wow.
right now because of where people sit on the polls and a lot of money going in on Ford. So they are the favorite to win right now, but Chevy at plus 135 isn't nothing to sneeze at. Toyota's all the way down at plus 340
Oh my God.
just because what we said there, they don't have
The numbers.
They don't have the numbers.
Right.
So they
Can
can't-
you say value bet?
that's a value bet for sure. It's just the two big players are obviously Ford and Chevy, and I'm leaning Ford, but plus 135 is a good value bet for Chevy as well. So
Well, I like the drivers for Toyota too.
yeah, no
I mean,
doubt.
I like the drivers, and what Jake said makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you just don't have as many partners.
You don't have
so
the
you're-
teammates
Yeah, you're and Ford guys are going to be pulling for Ford guys.
for sure.
I get it, but I'm still looking at the poll here, and your best Ford was Logano in 13th.
Yeah,
Your top 12 guys on the poll are not Ford, but that doesn't matter to you guys.
It's funny you bring up Logano. hated Logano for so long. I referred to him exclusively as Slowy Slogano.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I hated him.
Wow.
And I will tell you, like the last year and a half, 2 years maybe, he's earned my respect.
There you go.
He really has. He's a great racer.
He is. He's
He-
very
he's
good.
a great racer.
He's got a few wins under his belt. It
Yeah.
took him a while,
So
though.
it-
You're right. It took him a while.
Yeah.
Once he got on the circuit.
But seeing Logano at 13th, I don't like that. Doesn't concern me all that much. Like Logano, in my opinion, will still be top 5, top 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we mentioned it a little earlier where a lot of that does get negated in Talladega, 188 laps, 2.66, mile track. It's a monster. And it really comes down to who's there at the end, not your starting pole as much like in the shorter tracks.
Do you guys? And I'm sure this prop is on here, but who's your first DNF? Who do you think's going out first?
Bubba.
That doesn't shock me.
23 will be out early.
That's your Ford guy.
Yep.
That's a Ford.
I said, we're gonna cause the wrecks and we're gonna win the race.
You're eliminated. He's like, I got 4 Toyotas behind me.
Better take them all out. No, I mean that one is a crapshoot. Obviously, I mean every manufacturer is gonna be involved in the wreck. Obviously,
Sure.
But yeah, who starts it? It'll probably be a Ford.
I kind of like Recce.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Recce. So
Recce Steinhaus.
yeah, Recce Steinhaus and Stenhouse, and I mean, you earn a name like that.
Yeah.
You don't just get that name.
No.
You earn it over years and years of putting people into the wall, putting yourself into the wall. So
Yeah.
give me Recce.
All right, I like that.
Yeah. You got a guess?
I have no idea. To be honest.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's
know
fair.
who's going to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Well, yeah.
I mean, all of them are,
Pluck
but
one out of
yeah,
water.
just
Yeah, right.
look for 23 to be making some noise right away. So
All right. Well, very good. Should we get the panel back on?
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
let's
go.
Hey, thanks for joining
Thanks
us.
for
Luke.
coming, guys.
Connor.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Get
I
the
don't
smart
think-
people back.
Yeah. No.
Get the
We need to get the barbecue guys back on the barbecue and
The beer guy
back
pouring the
on
beer. Heck yeah.
Connor's actually helping us behind the scenes too. Helping
Yeah.
us get the live.
getting
view
the
going
audio,
on.
the visual, all
Boy,
that
oh
stuff.
boy, that's
All
some
these things.
diss on Bubba.
Yeah, oh, big time.
You're not a Bubba guy.
I'm big Bubba hater for sure.
Okay.
And
Robert and I were just talking about he's one of the best plate racers out there.
there you
Well,
His
I
first
wouldn't-
win came at
I don't think he
Talladega.
said that. There's no
his
way that
first
Robert said
rain-
that.
His first win came on a rain out.
Chase
Rain-
Elliott's
rain
first
something.
Chase Elliott's first win of that same season came
Yeah.
on a rain out. No one
You're- that-
disagreed with that.
Yeah.
That's correct, but Chase Elliott has a few wins to back it up.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
oh.
Bubba also won at Kansas though. Yeah, he's got two
Was
wins.
he the only
And
racer
he's,
at that
and he's
race?
been in, and he's been in a
I-
number
it
of
might
top
have been a-
fives.
Yeah.
It might have been a bicycle race.
Yeah, just racing to the airport or what?
Throwing some shade back and forth here.
No, I'm just having fun with it. I'm not that big a Bubba hater. It's fun to
So,
poke the bear a little bit with him.
oh, sure.
No, it's
No.
that. I
Now-
can understand that.
He had an interesting race last year where he had a little conflict with the number 5, Kyle
Yep.
Larson.
I remember that.
And I think it was he was a little bit out of line, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
And I'm not a Bubba fan,
Yeah,
but he is a good plate racer. He's one of them guys that he gets caught up in the big one, and the next thing you know, he's back out on track and he's in the top 10.
right.
And I'm like, where the heck did he come from?
Yeah. For people who don't know, he hooked Kyle Larson intentionally.
Oh,
At
for
Vegas.
sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, he meant to.
He even
He
admitted it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at some of these lines here, and I kind of want to get into that.
Yeah.
What we like, what we don't like. And it kind of blows me away when we're talking all the way down to your plus 2,800 guys to win.
Yeah.
And then you also have your props, top 3 finish, top 5 finish, top
Yep.
10. You're getting down to the plus 2,800 like MTJ, Austin Dillon, but they're still minus money, top 10.
Wait a minute, Austin Dillon.
He's at a plus 100. His line just moved to plus 100 to be in a top 10. I'm like, how can these odds be so good to be top 10? Like you're looking at over 40 guys, are not 40, but over 20 of the 40, over half the field. You're looking at plus money at the top 10. There's no way.
And
Yeah.
you're the betting guys. How's
And
that work?
Austin Dillon definitely.
I
has
mean,
a
minus
chance.
money is what
Yeah.
I meant.
Yeah,
Minus. Your minus
gotcha.
odds. Yeah, it
No,
should be
it-
plus money at all of them.
It
I would
should
agree.
be. It should be plus money on all of them, but it just shows the fact that that's where money's going in on those guys or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just it's so tough. I could not take a bet in NASCAR if it's not plus money because
Agreed.
it-
Agreed.
it's too much of a crapshoot. It's too much of a if they get caught up in a wreck, if they could be out by lap 10, in a minus money bet, which would mean you're, putting the money up front and not getting as much as you're putting in on it.
Exactly.
It's just not a good value bet to take anything that's not plus money for NASCAR.
So here, I'll just look at the plus 1,500 guys that I just looked at.
Yeah.
Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson. They're all at minus 140, minus 145, minus 140. So you're wagering $100 to win 40 on a top 10?
No, you're wagering $140
to win 100.
to win 100
is what I meant. Yeah. But like that doesn't even make sense. And you can't have 20 guys finish in the top 10.
No, you can't.
Like the lines are kind of screwy when we get into that top 10 talk.
Exactly. No, like we just said, you can't take bets like that and feel good about them, just especially on NASCAR. Now, like you said, like if you get somebody like, let's say Austin Dillon, since we were on the topic, a top 5 for Austin Dillon right now is plus 350.
Mhm.
So that means you just have to put up $100 to win 350 if he's in the top 5. Now that is a good value bet just because you're getting so much more in return for him, getting in that 5th position. So I would really steer clear of the, minus bets, go for all that plus money because it's just more value and you won't be, breaking the bank with it either.
Well, and that's the point I was making. I just can't believe all these minus monies for the top 10.
For sure.
Austin Dillon could be in 30th and be able to pull off top. 2016.
Yeah.
Coming into turn 1 in the white flag, he was in 17th, finished 3rd.
Right.
He's a dude who can work the draft. I mean, it doesn't matter where he is in the field. I think he can get in the top 10.
Alex Bowman, he's a plus 2,500 to win it, and then a minus 105 top 10. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, no,
I like that one less than I like Austin Dillon. I'll be real about that.
For sure.
And he's ranked ahead of him.
Yeah, no,
it's just crazy how that goes. Robert, did you dive into any of these numbers? Is there?
You know what? I'm not a betting man.
Oh, okay. You're just a race man.
I'm one of those guys that if I bet the opposite.
Yeah, he fades me.
Yes,
okay, all right.
I have no luck whatsoever. But
yeah.
Well, then
Austin
I'm really
Dillon, he has a chance in all these plate races.
Yeah.
He won the Daytona 500 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's just Richard Childress cars are always good.
Mhm.
Of course, my buddy Kyle Busch, I'm always pulling for him now that he's in a different vehicle or whatever. But
Yeah.
I would like to have still seen him in the Toyota 18 M&Ms just because it's easier to text than 3 tie.
Yes.
Somebody that no one's mentioned. I mean, no bias by this at all, but Ryan Blaney.
Yeah,
And
right.
Yeah.
He's
2
at the
wins,
top, yeah.
2 wins at Dega, and he's got what I think he's the second best average finish of drivers at Dega, and I think he got put into the Walk of Fame at Talladega this weekend. Like 55 hasn't won a race in 55 straight events, so I think he's got a good chance
He's
too.
due. Well, and he's at the top.
He's the top.
The odds.
Yeah,
He's at the
him
top
and
of the
Logano
odds.
are both at
Yep.
plus 1,000 right now to
Yep.
win the race. So
Yeah.
it is kind of bad that we haven't mentioned Ryan Blaney yet when he's sitting on top.
And
of
your
the
guy
betting lines.
Logano too.
In Logano as well. So we got to talk about those guys. And then Denny Hamlin sitting on top of the poll right now is plus 1,200. So he's right behind those.
And I got
those
it on
top
the roll
guys.
at 1,800.
Yeah, no, that is a very good value bet.
And
right
Harvick
there.
at 15.
And Harvick at plus 1,500. So it just depends what you like. Like you said, he's a Kyle Busch guy. I'm a Logano guy. It's just where you want to, waste some money.
Well, and with the fantasy stuff, you want to spread it out.
Yeah,
take a
exactly.
couple guys at the top, take a couple middle pack guys, and then a couple long shots.
It-
Because it changes so fast. at Talladega.
Exactly. And for everybody at home watching stuff, we're not saying run out and put $1,000 on Joey Logano.
Right.
That's just not how you bet. That's not how you bet NASCAR.
Right.
Like you said, grab a top guy at plus 1,000, grab a guy at plus 2,500, and the long shot. Grab a Ty Dillon at plus 25,000.
That's what I will tell people here. I mean, and especially for parlays, if people are listening in places like where you can do FanDuel or DraftKings,
Yeah.
this is the race where you combine. I'm just looking at the sheet here.
Yeah.
Justin Haley,
Yep.
Zane Smith, Riley Herbst, BJ McLeod. Like this is the type of race where you parlay all of them to finish top 10,
Yep.
top 15.
Yep.
Somebody did that last year at Daytona in the summer race and netted $1 million.
Right. It's just you can stack some of these guys like you were just saying, and those are some of the best names out there for doing that. But yeah, pick a couple of those guys and put $10 on them, or put a $25 bet on that.
That's plus 5,000, plus 6,000, plus 25,000.
Right.
I mean,
well, and maybe you guys can help me with a little bit of this. But I don't understand all the shade that's coming in on Kyle Larson. Like I get it that he hasn't won in 16 starts at Talladega. He hasn't won one yet.
Yeah.
But he's won 4 of the last 5. 3 of the last 4 starts. I mean, like, the guy is solid. He's one of the best out there. And all I've read this entire week is like, fade Kyle Larson. I'm like, he's one of the best drivers this season.
Yeah. The thing with Kyle Larson is he will tell you he just is not a good plate racer.
He said that last week. He said he didn't like Martinsville and he won the darn thing.
Yeah, he did say that. He say that. He said it. Now, again, I don't think Hendrick had the most speed last week. I don't want to call any win for anybody lucky.
Yeah.
But Stewart Haas Racing sort of fell off towards the end. I mean, they had the best cars. He kind of lucked into it. I mean, Joey Logano was running 31st and a pit strategy got him to finish second. So some of that came into play there. I feel like your chances of getting lucky, especially if you're a better driver like you are, somebody like Larson, your chances of having that happen at Talladega aren't as in your favor as they would be at Martinsville.
Right. What do you think, Robert?
Well, that was the other thing that I was going to mention is pit road strategy.
Yeah.
Pit road penalties. Speeding penalties, loose tire, equipment left on the vehicle coming out of your pit box. All that stuff can come into play so huge.
Yeah.
And make a big difference in how the race turns out.
So you don't like Kyle Larson then either?
I wouldn't say that I don't like him. It's just it wasn't that long ago he won like 7 or 8 races in a year, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with Kyle.
It's kind of like the Brady effect. You don't want him to win too much.
Exactly.
Or the Warriors.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, he hasn't won at Talladega yet, and much like what you were saying with your guy, maybe he's due. You know, the number 17, lucky 17 here for old Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Gibran, you were talking about some head-to-heads earlier in the week. Are
Yeah.
there any head-to-heads that maybe you feel good about it all?
Pull those up there quick, Andy.
Because that's another one where I even said earlier, like, man, Kyle Larson's catching a lot of shade in these head-to-heads. And like, man, I think he's one of the best drivers on the planet.
Yeah.
Everyone's picking him to lose, and he's got better odds than most.
Yeah. So what we said about plus money and everything, these are the only minus money bets that are feasible for NASCAR, are just head-to-head bets. Because you're just flipping a coin pretty much.
Yeah.
So my biggest one that I really like, and it's our guy right here, Kyle Busch, that we've been talking about. Kyle Busch versus Christopher Bell. I think Busch takes him down. Obviously, they're both. It's a minus 110 bet. You have to put up 110 to receive that 100 or whatever. But I really like that matchup for Kyle Busch. I just think he's the better driver. And I'm not trying to throw shade on Bell. I just think that Kyle Busch is top 10, and Christopher Bell might not be even there at the end of the race.
Well, everybody likes Bell. A lot of positive talk about Bell earlier throughout this week, and not so much about Kyle Busch. But I don't know if anyone ever really talks nice about Kyle Busch.
No.
I don't know where I lean on that one.
Yeah. No, I would like to hear what you're thinking.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I probably would lean towards Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
I think, at the end of the day, Kyle Busch has the experience. I know he's in a new car, but Christopher Bell just has less starts at Talladega than Kyle Busch does. And, Kyle's with a new team, which maybe that levels it out a bit, but just go back to years. And I remember when we talked about Daytona, when it comes to head-to-heads, one of the things that I said I look at is, okay, who would probably be better at navigating the big one?
There you go.
To me, I feel like, again, because of experience, I'd go with Kyle Busch.
For sure. Nope. I like that point as well. That's really good. A couple other ones, Andy.
Bell won the pole, though. Like, he's looking good.
Hamlin won the pole.
Denny's on top.
Okay.
Yep. Denny's on top. So, he's right there for sure. Christopher Bell, what is he, like 5th or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Bell starts P6. Yep. Starts right behind Blaney.
Exactly. So, he's in very good position, like you're saying, Andy. Besides the matchups, I like to look at some group winners. And this is like on DraftKings and FanDuel, like you're saying, that they put 4 guys in a group, and they're all plus money bets. But I'm looking at Group A on DraftKings right now. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott. These are the, top of the top.
So you said that Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin,
Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott.
Okay.
So they're all sitting there. Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano at plus 220, Denny Hamlin at 275, and then Chase Elliott is the, dark horse there at plus 330. Obviously, you know where I'm leaning. I'm taking Logano because I think he's going to win the race. Yeah. But it's just one out of four there that you're picking. So I like the plus 220. He doesn't have to win the race. He just has to beat these other three guys. So if you're looking for, just a kind of a side prop bet kind of thing, with those group ones could be a lot of fun as well because you're getting plus money on those as well.
Yeah, and that's plus money across the board.
Yes.
Love that. You got a group one you like?
Pick four guys that so you guys have seen I do those tweets every day. So I'll just go with some of the guys I said in my tweet as I pull it up. So Almirola, Harvick, Blaney, Hamlin / Chris Buescher. You guys can pick who the other one would be.
I think can't rule out Ross Chastain.
Okay. And defending race winner.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we haven't talked about him either. We're kind of throwing some shade at some guys, especially with a previous winner just last year. So
and haven't said much about Keselowski yet either. And I really like what he's been able to do. And I mentioned it during the pod. He was very, very confident on Fox Sports earlier in this week, and I think he should be, right? 6 career wins at Talladega, looking to make it number 7 and move into that number 2 all-time spot behind the Intimidator.
Exactly, and just like we just said just a little bit ago, he is one of those drivers that's going to be able to navigate probably through the big one as good as anybody can. So he's lucky. Yeah,
he's just lucky.
Luck is with him. So no, obviously Brad's a really, really good bet today. I'm just looking right now.
He's got to find his teammate though.
Exactly.
I think he's got to be with Chris Buescher at the end if he's going to win it.
Yep. Exactly right. And the lines show that with Brad, he's a plus 150 right now to go top 5. So that's not great value, obviously, but it shows that most people think he's going to be there at the end. So I can't disagree with that. Keselowski's going to be there.
I'm kind of betting on it that he'll be there at the end. Robert, let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about Talladega big picture. Do you have a favorite Talladega memory, an ending, a race, a year that stands out?
I think without a doubt when Carl Edwards went up into the fence, and that was a major wreck.
Yeah.
And to see all of the debris that was flying everywhere. And when his car stopped, it was almost just a shell of a roll cage and stuff. And he climbs out of it and runs across the finish line. Hence Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby.
Yep.
It was just something that was, it was fun.
It was a spectacle.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Did he instill a rule change since he did that, or is that still all right to on the books as long as the person crosses the finish line?
Well, I think your car has to cross.
I think
they did change it.
Yeah, they did change that.
Carl Edwards ruining it for everybody.
Yep. Agreed.
Bartecki, how about you? You got a favorite Talladega?
I am going to go with one that people might forget about a lot. I am going to go with Front Row Motorsports finishing 1-2 in the 2013 Geico 500.
Wow.
David Reagan wins. David Gilliland finishes second.
Yep.
Such a cool story for Bob Jenkins and that team. It was just the second ever win for David Reagan. I think it was his last win as well. He had won at Daytona the year before in the summer race. Yep. And it was just his teammate was right there with him, pushed him to the win. It was really cool. The other one would be, I talked about it, Dale Earnhardt with Kenny Wallace going from 17th to the win. And then this is super biased, I will admit, but Ryan Blaney inching past Ryan Newman in the 2019 October race. It was a Monday race, got rained out on Sunday.
Yep.
But he made it and he won, and it was one of the best days of my life.
Jabron, one of the best days of my life. Jabron, do you got a favorite at all? Run down memory lane.
Yeah, no, I Earnhardt, like you said, I was always kind of been a fanboy of his. So anything that, has anything to do with Dale or his dad at Talladega is definitely iconic. And just the race itself, Andy, it's Daytona or Talladega. is really when people like me that aren't huge NASCAR guys or whatever, it still gets you.
It moves the needle.
It moves the needle,
names,
and it gets not so much race fans really excited for it.
Yeah.
At least 2 days a year. So just the race in general, but anything with Earnhardt Jr., I've always been a big guy for him. And then our brother, I was a big Jeff Gordon fan, so I would just say literally just rooting against Jeff Gordon,
right,
or rooting for Earnhardt on the 2 big days of the year.
So many people rooted against the Rainbow Warrior.
Yep.
No kidding.
One right to my right here is a big hater.
You're not a Jeff Gordon guy, Robert?
Not a Jeff Gordon guy. you mean Jeff Gay or Dumb?
That's enough. We're all happy around here.
Yeah.
And I want to do a little tip of the cap. I'm not saying it's the greatest, but as far as ending and spectacle, last year, Ross Chastain, we mentioned the guy earlier, but that final lap, he had 4 cars going to the wall, a couple spin outs.
Just stayed on the bottom.
He stayed on the bottom, and he only led 1 lap. The end out of all 188 laps. He only led 1 lap, and it was the one that mattered. And
It's the only one that counts.
Only one that counts.
Checkered flag. I mean, it's just perfect theater to a great race. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's what we saw last year, and then leading up into this year. So we got a little bit of time left. Should we start talking about our picks for this afternoon?
Let's do it.
I think we should just go one by one, Andy. And I would like Robert to start, because I want to go do my bets off of what Robert says. So
might change it on the fly.
Yeah.
I can't pick it against Kyle Busch.
Okay.
He's been my driver. I love him because everybody hates him.
Yeah, he's
I like
he's
instigator too.
He's like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. Like we said, he's one of the best to ever do it, and people hate him for it.
got two championships, and he's always a little bit controversial.
Yeah,
he can't fight worth the crap.
No,
every time
he'll try though.
Every time he gets in a little fight, he comes out bloody.
Yep.
But no, I'm going to have to go with Kyle Busch. He's been running real well, and he's got 1 win under his belt this year, and so I'm hoping for another one.
Wow.
Yeah, and there we go. Got some barbecue making our way here. Oh, some more prop sheets coming in.
The hot mess.
Smoked beef dog with pulled pork with coleslaw with sauce.
Oh,
wow.
There
I
we
was like, I
go.
can't bring 4 of these things. So then
Yeah, no, I'm gonna try this right now.
There we go.
Is that low-cal, no-cal?
Nice. Well, and Kyle Busch is one of the best value plays out there.
How's it, Brian?
A ton of different journals have been talking about how, he runs good at Talladega. He's got the experience, and he's got a win under his belt, and it looks like he's getting more comfortable with Childress, right, in the new team. So
Absolutely.
I like Kyle Busch too.
And he's absolutely thrilled about 3 Chai being one of his sponsors. If you've seen any of his interviews this past week and such, where he talks about he loves racing when he's high, but he's got to be careful with what he says,
right,
because of the drug testing policies. But no, I'm a fan.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, Kyle Busch is sitting right there at plus 1,800. Great value bet for the winner. Top 3 placement is at plus 500, and top 5 is plus 225. So really across the board with Kyle Busch, that's all good value bets. So that's definitely one of the better picks out there. So
yeah. I like Kyle Busch.
Well, you guys heard I'm in on Eric Almirola. The guys have sprinkled money around that, I think could be favorites. Would be Almirola, Harvick, Blaney, and Hamlin and Chris Buescher. Mm-hmm. My long shot picks, I'm liking Corey LaJoy at plus 5,000.
Yeah.
And I like Todd Gilliland at plus 6,000.
Yeah. Wow.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I actually wrote down Gilliland.
Yeah.
The plus 6,000 right there.
Well, and his dad was part of that 1-2 finish for Front Row Motorsports. And guess where he races now? Front Row Motorsports.
You can't leave out the number 2.
Cindric?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Interesting.
Where are we at here?
Cindric is a past Daytona 500 winner. Sometimes it's all about being lucky and in the right spot.
So you're saying Austin Cindric?
Austin Cindric, you can't rule him out.
Starts P15.
Position 15. He's sitting at plus 3,000 right now.
Ford.
top 3 plus 850, top 5 plus 380. So
yeah,
huge value bets. I loved all your value bets there. I mean, that's some really plus money stuff when you're talking about that. Just sprinkle a little bit, especially on
Gilliland. And I mean, he just NASCAR's latest power rankings, he just cracked the top 10.
Yeah.
Todd Gilliland did?
Yes, he did. He's in front of Logano. He's in front of MTJ. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's been able to do, and he's run good on super speedways. I mean, he hasn't been there a long time, but he's trending upward. He's trending in the right direction. And for plus 6,000, I don't know if you can beat that.
I mean, that's definitely one of the better value plays of the day. Obviously, like you were saying with Eric Amarola, is that his? Yeah.
Oh, he's
obviously he should be a front runner to win this thing. He's at plus 2,200. So that is huge plus side, especially for like you're saying, one of the favorites to win this. Regardless of sports betting or anything like that, he has a really good shot of winning this race. So the plus 2,200 is nothing to sneeze at as well. So I like all the picks that you just laid out for us there.
I think on a side note, Chase Elliott, after coming off of his snowboarding accident, his leg's going to be sore from just pushing on the accelerator the entire race. And never shifting.
Was it his gas pedal leg? Was it his right leg?
I was gonna say that would be good information to know for sure.
He's my pick to win stage 2 with Elliott.
There you go. Yeah. You don't think he'll hold up at the end of the race with
I'm telling you, man,
leg getting tired?
I'm big on the Fords.
There you go.
I've heard a lot about
he drives a Chevrolet though.
He does.
But that's okay.
No, that's all right. I've heard a lot about Eric Amarola throughout the week. He's at plus 900 for a top 3, plus 400 for a top 5, and plus 110 top 10. I think that top 10 bet is excellent.
Yeah, that's probably a lock. That's probably a lock.
And plus 2,500 to take it all down. So another one of those value plays.
No doubt.
And what we're looking at. Well, I mean, mine is so boring, but I like Keselowski.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier this week.
I think
that's not boring.
I mean, no,
it'd be his first win with RFK Racing.
I mean, he's had an up and down start, right? He hasn't had the start to the season that he's wanted, but
he has been coming on a little bit.
There you go.
Making some improvements, which is what he talks about in his interviews.
Yeah.
That he's focusing on making improvements and getting better, and he has been doing that. So.
Well, and he's plus 1,400 is what I'm looking at. And a lot of my numbers, I just want to be clear, are their consensus numbers. So it's kind of like an average between all the other different apps. So we're not, we're not sponsored by DraftKings or FanDuel or whatever. So we just kind of bounce it around, and we say it all the time. Shop it around.
Find if you're really in on a guy, go to different sites, go to different apps, find your best value play with that driver. Just because we say, Joey Logano is plus 1,000.
Responsibly, of course.
Responsibly, of course. But yeah, just because we say Logano is plus 1,000 on DraftKings doesn't mean that your local book over in Council Bluffs, he could have better odds there.
Yeah.
So you got to shop it around. If you're really in on a guy, make sure you look at a couple different areas, and a couple different apps to find that best price for that guy. So like you said, with Brad being, kind of a, boring bet, I have the biggest boring bet of the entire day here. And it's just because I'm going with my guy, Joey Logano at plus 1,000. So that is my pick to take it down. Joey's going to win this race. You can fade Gibran if you want to, but I'm gonna be the one smiling at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can go too far against Joey Logano, right?
Came close. Won the semi super speedway race at Atlanta. Was about 2 inches away from winning the Daytona 500. Could have made it a sweep.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that'll about do it for our first ever live broadcast here at the Nebraska Brewhouse. Got to say thank you to Connor, Paul, all the good folks with the Nebraska Brewing Company, giving us the space and the time and the beer. Squealers, Luke and Ben Evers out there with Farm Focus, supplying some of the gear and help us as far as the food goes. Jake, big game. Do they call you Big Race Bob?
Big Race Bob.
Big Race Bob.
Yep, that's what they call him.
Robert Knapp. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yes, absolutely.
Now it's time to get into some of that barbecue. Maybe try some more beers.
Yeah, I just have to say real quick, this Squealers barbecue, this hot mess, this hot dog, pulled pork, and it's the best thing I've had ever. Like it's a hot mess, and I'm going to be a hot mess after eating it, obviously. So
if you're in the Omaha metro area or even within 2 or 3 hours. You got some time.
You
You're
do.
going to be here for
Yeah.
the whole watch party. People are filing in to the tap room here in La Vista, Nebraska. Make your way. For Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, my name's Andy Klassen. This has been WTL.